You'll have to talk about the youth leadership and development in this pandemic situation. It's more related with the mental health as well, because the suicide cases are rising too high these days, and its youths are very disappointed. They don't know what will be their future. There is no certainty when this COVID is going to end. So young people are jobless. Young people are searching even for what kind of opportunity they get in post COVID era as well. So there is a state of dilemma, and that's creating psychological disorder to many of the youth as well. So today we will be discussing on how youth can develop themselves, how they can build their capacity in this pandemic situation as well. Now the technology has made many things easier. If you're using the technology, you can learn at your homes as well. So we'll be talking on those things, and then today almost about around 300 youths have applied for the to for this webinar to watch. So we'll be now starting our program. We are at sharp 2 o'clock. So today, Luminar Bangladesh, young organization led by youth of Bangladesh, and See Nepal, which is an organization based on Tarai part of Nepal, which has been working on climate change, environment conservation, youth development, youth motivation, and skill development as well, has jointly come together to come on the issue of youth leadership and development and mental health during this pandemic of COVID-19. So we have six guests. We have six guests today. Three of the guests are from Bangladesh, and two of the guests are from Nepal, and one guest we have of India also. In though Indian guest has is not sure to come today, but he has been saying he will find his best to come to the program today. So first we have Her Excellency Mrs. Masfee Binte Sam. She is Ambassador of People's Republic of Bangladesh to Nepal. Mrs. Masfee Binte Sam, Ambassador of Bangladesh to Nepal, joined Ministry of Foreign Affairs in 1991. She has served in Bangladesh missions abroad, namely Rome, Bangkok, and New Delhi in various capacities, including as Deputy High Commissioner in Bangladesh High Commission, New Delhi. While serving in the ministry, she has worked in various wings, including international organization, Far East, Budget and Expenditure Control, SAARC and South Asia. She has represented Bangladesh in many bilateral, regional, and multilateral meetings. During her tenure as director, mm, South Asia, she dealt with Bangladesh bilateral relation with other South Asian countries. Her Excellency has been an excellent motivator for youth of Nepal as well. She has been helping. She has been supporting the youth of Nepal for a long time. She is a role model for us also. We have been working on the youth sector. So I will be continuously introducing our guest. So I will heartily like to request Her Excellency Masfee Binte Sams, Ambassador of People's Republic of Bangladesh to Nepal, to speak on the topic we are discussing on youth development, youth leadership, and mental health during this pandemic of COVID-19. Thank you.
Okay. Shall I start?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Abhinav Chaudhary. It is always a pleasure to participate in a program organized by you and your friends. And it is a great privilege that you continue to invite me at various youth-related programs because interacting with the young people also, I think, helps to keep me young, mentally young, and I think it is very important. So, as you said, there are friends from Bangladesh also. তো বাংলাদেশ থেকে যারা অংশগ্রহণ করছেন তাদের সবাইকে আমার আন্তরিক শুভেচ্ছা। আসসালামু আলাইকুম। আশা করি সবাই ভালো আছেন। And to all my friends in Nepal also, namaste, good afternoon. I hope all of you are keeping well in this very challenging times that we are all facing collectively and individually also. The topic today, I think, is very important and something that we all should be discussing together. The mental challenges, particularly that we are all facing due to this coronavirus. The coronavirus is a health issue. Primarily, it's a health issue that is affecting so many people around us. Our friends, our many of us have had relatives who have passed away because of this virus. Maybe friends. Personally, I have lost friends. I have lost relatives. I think that is the case with many of our friends in Bangladesh also. In Nepal, so far, the death toll is still very limited. I think Nepal is still quite lucky in being able to contain the disease. But more than the health crisis, I think the greater economic and the psychological impact is something that we all need to be talking about and thinking about. Like just this morning, I was discussing with my colleagues here about the school children. Luckily, my child is no longer going to the school, so I'm not facing that problem. But they have young children of different age groups in like class 12, class 7, preschool, and they are all stuck at home for the last 4 months, 3 months, and they do not know when their classes and the schools will resume. And they are going to, they're undertaking online classes, but I'm not very sure how, of course, it's useful academically, but school is something that gives education more than just literal education. It creates an environment for learning. Children learn by interacting with each other, with playing with each other, with interacting with their teachers. And so these children have been deprived of that for the last 3 months. Similarly, so many of us are facing an uncertain economic future. Shops have closed down, restaurants, um, uh, bars and hotels and small business enterprises, I think, are the most affected. I know in Bangladesh, there are so many people I know, so many people who have like small boutiques and they work from home and supply to these small boutiques. And in the last 3, 4 years, they have been doing so well, excellent. They have been producing excellent products. They have been even exporting to many countries. And all these economic activities is now at a standstill. And so this is creating a big uncertainty for all of us. It is creating somehow we do not know, there is no end to it. As I always say that, we can cope with something if we know that it will be ending like 15 days later or like 1 month later, but still, every day WHO or some health expert comes and tells us no, corona will come back. It is going to have a second phase. This is only the beginning, so we don't know when this is going to end. So that I think uncertainty is the worst part of the corona that we are all facing. And the another negative um, thing that of this health crisis is this isolation from this the immediate need of social distancing, lockdown, and isolation. Those of us who are lucky enough to have our family members with us, we are, I think, slightly in a better position. But there are so many of our friends and our other family members in the society who are alone, who are having to cope. with this lockdown situation alone. And for them, it must be very, very difficult. Just imagine living by yourself, not having a human being to interact with, only talking to people through the phone, then video call is not enough, I think, and not being able to go out. This thing is going on for 3, 4 months. It's like very difficult to stay healthy and fit. So it's, uh, it's a very challenging time for all of us, and especially for young people, because it is the nature of young people to go out, interact, work, be active, to reach out to each other, and so it must be even more challenging for the people of the age group that we call youth. But of course, let us not only focus on the negatives. There are many opportunities here also, and this digital age that is with us. And God, this coronavirus did not happen like 50 years ago when we did not even have cell phones and computers. And we, in that case, we would not have been able to interact with each other like the way we are doing right now. Friends from Bangladesh participating in webinars and me sitting here talking to people, friends in Nepal and Bangladesh. So let us be thankful and let us utilize whatever tools we have. Let us utilize those tools to the best of our capacity. Um, and digitally, we can reach out, we can work out mechanisms to support each other so that we all know that we are not alone. If we know that a particular friend or family member is suffering because of this isolation or from future uncertainty or from financial crisis, we can all uh, reach out a supporting hand. I think the most important um, tool or most important means of combating mental health issues at this time of crisis is by helping, giving supporting hand. Yes. And it really does not cost anything, you know, being able to help a friend. Maybe it will be just like taking 5 minutes a day to call somebody and talk to that person so that person knows that he or she is not alone. For you, it is only 5 minutes of your time. But for that, for the person you're talking to, it will mean maybe a huge, uh, it will make a huge impact. And that will mean that that person, maybe that person's life will be changed. Similarly, economically also, we can all try and we don't need to donate huge amounts of money. We don't need to make huge contributions to charity. But economically also, I think we can all try and do whatever little we can. Maybe try to help somebody's business in some way. If somebody is trying to establish a you know, food supply, maybe we can contribute there. If somebody is trying to donate old clothes, so many of us have houses full of clothes that we don't wear at all, so we can um, donate that. So there are many creative ways that we can coordinate and we can work together. And another important thing is to work in coordination. Instead of duplicating our efforts, let us all work together in a coordinated manner. Let us, so often it happens that charity, in the name of charity, we are reaching out only to a very limited group of people while somebody maybe next door to us is starving or suffering. So we have to make sure that we can reach out and help everybody in a coordinated way. There is enough for all of us. We just have to make sure that we do it in a way that that amount is distributed. Um, for young people, I think it is easier because you know how to establish networks. You are all very good at networking through tools, apps like Facebook is of course the old fashioned now. There are so many other new networking devices that you can use, and you can create your groups, support groups, and I think that is the best way that we can help each other cope through this very challenging time. So I think I will stop here now. I have been talking for around more than 15 minutes. So I'd like to thank Abhinav again for inviting me and to talk about this very important subject. And if any of you have any questions, you can ask it to me later on. I'll be happy to reply in any form our moderator will allow. Thank you so much.
Unmute my mic, please. Yes. Thank you, Her Excellency. Yes, Her Excellency, thank you so much for your kind words. Am I audible, Her Excellency?
Yes, yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Meanwhile, we got a very interesting question from a participant. Many of international relation students from Dhaka University are watching this conference today. So one of the students, he asked that what is the future of jobs in foreign service in post COVID era? Is foreign service is any bad news for the students who are studying in international relations? So could you please answer that one? Because you have been a long experience of in foreign service.
I think for the foreign service, it will be even more important to because we will have to reach out across the globe for support and establishing new markets for the Bangladeshi products, new markets for our migrants, and to do this, we will have to have new recruits in the foreign service to go and work in many new places where we still don't have embassies. As you know, Bangladesh does not still have embassies in all the countries of the world. I think altogether we have about 70 plus embassies and sub missions, we call them. So it will be even more important, and since the next few years will be so challenging because we are all going to compete in a very challenging space, it will be more important for us to recruit young and enthusiastic people in the foreign service. And I think there is absolutely no reason to think that the foreign service will have a, will be shrinking at all.
Yeah. Thank you, Her Excellency. It was a very interesting question, and you answered it so well. Hope our friends got how the international relation studies is important for globe in post-COVID era as well. Thank you, Her Excellency, for your time. Despite of your busy schedule, you managed to provide your time at end. Thanking you. I'll like to thank you on behalf of Luminar Bangladesh and C Nepal. You have been very supportive for our all initiative in for the youth. You've been a good motivator of youth. In your capacity, thank you, Her Excellency.
Thank you.
Hope to see you in other conferences as well if you could provide your time to us. Thank you, Your Excellency.
Thank you. Thank you for
Thank,
inviting me.
thank you. Friends, we heard from Her Excellency Masfee Binte. She is Ambassador of People Republic of Bangladesh to Nepal. She was talking on how youth should take this chance of COVID, this pandemic situation, a situation of lockdown, turns into the opportunity. This is the high time for youth to act. We should not go with the psychological problems. We should not stick with the mental problems. Rather, we should. This is the high time. We should act for our society. We should act for our country. Meanwhile, if you are getting some kind of psychological problems, you will have to talk to your family. You need to talk to your friends. You stick to the routine. You're not just sleeping, wasting your time playing games in your mobiles. But you should take to your time to the daily routine. You'll have to meditate, you'll have to exercise, you'll have to recite something creative, and then you should be connected socially as well. In social media, we have to maintain a physical distancing, but we should not go at the social isolation in this time, because social isolation, job and financial losses, housing insecurity, and quality working in a frontline services, less coping mechanism, reduced access to mental health services are resulting in psychological problems. And psychological problems lead to the psychological disorders. So in this context, we have a very good doctor with us from Bangladesh, Dr. Asifur Rahman. Dr. Asifur Rahman is a medical doctor. He has been practicing practicing in Dhaka. Mr. Dr. Asifur Rahman is an MBBS BCS in indoor medical officer at Mitford Hospital, where today he will be talking on how mental health is important in context of in medically, and how we can reduce mental health problems, and what are the ways not occur the mental health. Thank you. Now up to you, Dr. Asifur Rahman. I will express my warm welcome to you on behalf of organizer C Nepal and Luminar Bangladesh. Thank you. Up to you, Dr. Sir.
Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon, everyone. And thanks, Abhinav, as a founder of SEC Nepal. And thanks, Mr. Arfina Shaura, founder of Luminar Bangladesh, and for giving me opportunity to say something in this live webinar. Everyone is facing different forms of problems in this COVID-19 pandemic, you all will know. Today's issue is about leadership, mental health, and development of youth in this critical condition. I will focus on mental health and development keywords of this topic. First of all, I want to share some of my experience as a doctor, because in my hospital, patients attempted to suicide is increased 3 or more times. It's a really matter of regret. In some cases, I wanted to search what was the cause. Majority complained about depression, domestic violences, and anxiety disorders due to upcoming so-called self-economic recession. They used corrosive ingestion of overdosing drugs, attempt to hanging, and so on, other pattern of suicide. I personally gave appropriate medicines and treated them accordingly. Even I couldn't survive some of my patients as they are in point of no return. I really felt sorry for them. What could I do? Majority are young people. So I really felt sorry for them, as this sort of attempts were mandatory for them actually. So actually they did it. I think this type of scenario owns not only our country, but also of the developing and underdeveloped countries of the world, or even in some developed countries too. We are really undergoing critical situation all over. Since March 2020, many areas were underwent lockdown. There were limitations of movement in the world, and so the world became a statue in one point of view. Children misses their school playground, become bounded to screen for their time passing. Screen means mobile, televisions, and so on. Some of them become bored and mentally ill. Aged people are actually divided into two groups. One of them thinks, how will they survive in this situation, as they are the most vulnerable in this to be infected. On the other hand, the other uh, portion of the aged people think COVID-19 cannot do any harm actually. Actually, they say it in the religious point of view. And the young generation, they are really spending a confused life. I can share my personal experiences here. Before coming this pandemic, I was too much busy dealing with patients, both in hospital setting and outside. But today, I'm going to hospital for the limited period, like 7 days, then 14 days gap, then again 7 days. So I'm only giving treatment over phone and online between this time. Though online treatment is not popular in our country, as most of the people are not used to it, and most of the people are some sort of not non-technological. They are not they have not found any similarities in using it. So most of the time, I am spending through online chat, online reviews of medical journals, family affairs, reading books, etc. But following this routine, I already think that in which level we are going down to live with such a devastating problem. I have a government job, relatively stable, but in private sector, the situation is rather worse. Even in developed country like USA, people have become jobless day by day. Now come to the topic. If I go back to the history, different forms of pandemic attack was seen in the world, like in form of plague in 251 and 1331, 1855, in form of influenza in back in 1889, the Spanish flu, in 1918, the Asian flu, Hong Kong flu, and recently and the swine flu in 2009 and 2010. Other form of disease like smallpox, measles, cholera, etc. So actually, the history says it's not really uncommon epidemic followed by pandemic. We yet don't know when this COVID-19 will end, but we have to know how to deal with it and how to live with it. If we want to be mentally sound, firstly, we have to know who will be affected more, means who are at risk. Answer is simple. People who are already mentally ill, face childhood trauma, positive family history of mental illness, and have different types of long-term illness having negative mental outcomes. What types of mental illness are common in this situation? Number one, depression. Number two, anxiety disorder. Number three, adjustment disorder. Number four, panic attack and phobia. And some sort of somatoform disorder. That means some bodily discomfort that is not described by any mean. And at last, but not the least, drug addiction. What are their impacts on the society? Starting from personal life to family to social society to national international society as well, in the form of deliberate self-harm, suicidal tendency, child abuse, familial disharmony in the form of domestic violence, etc. So we already saw the social violence in USA, India, even in Brahmanbaria in Bangladesh within this period. We already feel the economic disruption in our country within the poor people. In Bangladesh, experts says it is maybe a slow epidemic. We don't even know when the curve is in peak. So mental deterioration in the future world would be the burning question I have. Bangladesh government already took agreement and arrangement to overcome the ongoing economic recession of poor people with their limited resources and limited portion, with of course maintaining social distance, as for example, opening of garment sector, production of raw materials of food, education and vocational program, mostly online. Some NGOs are here already taken necessary steps for overcoming this situation. Uh, I feel happy to see when different groups of same motives are come ahead to combat, like students of public university, especially in Dhaka University and other colleges, become volunteer in order to serve daily goods to the people. After all, we are human. We have to keep humanity by all the enemy. Now I want to give some messages by which we can be sound mentally and physically. Number one, we shouldn't be panicked. We should believe and trust upon the Almighty Creator according to our religious background. Number two, we should stay at home as far as we can so that we can give time to our family, friends, especially ourselves by gathering knowledge through reading books, online or offline, playing games, etc. Children and aged people should be our concern as they are our future and past experience respectively. In young generation who already destroyed by drugs addiction, please, we should do something for those who already not in the line. We can advise them to create some creative things like online businesses, freelancing, online teaching, volunteering, the administrative portion of the government. So if we are busy in positive jobs, so that we can think positive, earn positive, and live positive. We should not believe in rumors. Firstly, identify the rumors. How it is become rumor? Ask the specialist of the topic of the rumor, not the journalist. And the journalist should gather actual information and publish it after proper monitoring. As jobless is one of our major concern of mental disintegrates, we should focus on alternative job for them. Government already took some necessary actions in health sector and some processes are still ongoing. We should be safe at home, preferably by doctor's advice if we feel unwell. Don't hesitate to consult with psychiatrist for a mental illness if we feel low. Lastly, I want to say that youth are the heart of a nation, are the energy to the nation to be sparked. Lots of work by them. World is looking at you. Please don't deserve that. So thank you, Luminar Bangladesh and Sanitation Environment and Energy Nepal to arrange this wonderful webinar by which we can share our views, knowledge worldwide. Thank you very much.
Dr. Asifur Rahman uh, is there
I
was a
already finished my
yeah,
speech.
yeah. So
Please.
we got some questions for you from the audience side that you see there is a there is two category of thinkings among you young people. One is need, what the people really need. Like during this lockdown, there is one thing that people have almost need of that, like the commodities, like the food materials. Think they need that. And another thing is that you have some expectations on, like you want to buy a luxury car, you want to build big houses. So when you don't balance in between, like in needs and your expectations, so you get some kinds of problems. So how do you think, what could help to manage these kind of feelings? Like uh, it's very difficult to manage. Like one part you have to manage the basic need, and another part you have to do with the expectation. So how do you think we can manage this part?
Thank you very much. There is a line there, start your clothes according to your. So in this situation, in this pandemic situation, in one portion, the people are poor, that they cannot even have their foods and their daily needs. But on the other form, some who can afford to buy some luxury and they can who can afford to have some time. Uh, but you have to combat, if you want to combat this pandemic situation, we have to believe that if I feel if I am good, we have to be good to others, to share my views, that share my own views to others, and so that I can express my views to others. Now, if I feel low, I can share. If I feel high, I can also share, but not to down others. And of course, it is a very critical situation for because there are division in the society: high society, low society, then middle class. So in the middle class, they show the high society and they show the low society. So they face the majority of the problem. And middle class families are more in worldwide. So they and the young generation of the middle class, they see the high society and the poor society. So they should take initiatives for overcoming. What should they do to overcome their this problem and difficulties in this current situation? Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Asifur Rahman. You talked very technically on the subjects, like it's very relevant that uh, how we cope up with these mental problems. And as a doctor, you see today there is very difficult situations in with pregnant women. uh, a question has come that how in this COVID era a pregnant woman can give a safer delivery, because you know the hospitals are very much doubtful on COVID. We There are very much diseases which are asymptomatic as well. So, what do you suggest to a pregnant woman to be safer in this COVID, because they are very vulnerable to COVID-19?
As pregnancy is a immunocompromised condition, and the mother and the baby, for the mother and the baby, they are in a vulnerable condition for COVID-19 attack. And in current situation in Bangladesh, not very recently, but we have divided our hospitals in at first about 2 months ago in COVID and non-COVID hospitals. And when a mother, pregnant mother, she didn't know is she is positive or negative. So it is a dilemma at first. But now, in every government hospital, there is a decision from the government higher authority that we should not refer any uh, pregnant lady or any others disease patients. So we should admit them if they need, and through isolation ward or it's it's called triage. So first we have to isolate if she are positive or not. Then we can admit her in our hospital and best for her.
Pregnant women are very much nervous on, because on these COVID-19 situations they have been they actually, you know, the pregnant woman already do have very much mental problems, because you are giving birth to a baby. So you have to be alert on how the baby goes. So, to the friends who joined us later in this program, let me remind you that we are in the first international conference of youth development, leadership, and mental health. We are discussing on how mental health can be good in this COVID era. How we can do our best to be psychological fit. So first, we have been talking with. Her Excellency Masfee Binte Sams. She is ambassador of People's Republic of Bangladesh to Nepal. We have, and secondly, we heard from Dr. Asifur Rahman. He is a medical officer at Milford Hospital. Dr. Asifur Rahman will come again back to you with some of the questions. Still, let me introduce. We have another guest from Nepal. She is Sugarika Kesi, a very well-known person in Nepal. Sugarika Kesi is. Uh, Sugarika Kesi is a social entrepreneur, media professional, self-development coach, woman empowerment activist, and youth development facilitator. Miss Nepal 2005, Sugarika Kesi is one of the most celebrated figures of Nepal, extensively known for her contribution in media, management, corporate and development sector. Mrs. Sugarika Kesi is at present Managing Director at Subhadin Media and Research Center. During this pandemic period, Subhadin Media has been utilizing online platforms to empower youth by providing skill and capacity building trainings. Welcome, Sugadika Kesi Madam, to our conference. It's a pride matter for us that you joined us. You are an excellent personality development and capacity building trainer for or trainer also. So we first heard from Her Excellency Masfee Binte Sams. She is ambassador at People's Republic of Bangladesh mission to Nepal. And then we had Dr. Asifur Rahman. Now I provide mic to you. Talk on especially how youth can utilize this period of lockdown, how youth can train themselves, making this period more useful to them. Thank you, madam, for joining us. Now it's up to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody. It's indeed a great pleasure to be together in this global platform. Is it my turn? You want me to speak at the moment?
Yes, yes, it was definitely your turn.
All right. Thank you very much, everybody. Respected excellencies, organizers, my dear friends, and dear valuable parts of this today's forum ecosystem. Let me introduce myself. Thank you very much for the wonderful introduction already. Today I'm representing whole Nepalese youth through this conference. I'm very honored to be a part of this important and time-appropriate gathering. I'm not very familiar to this new normal of connecting close with words through words, but I will try my best. Recently traumatized by earthquake, Nepal was trying to recover through reconstruction of infrastructures, mental and physical. And here comes Corona with new threats, more than ever imagined. Lucky and unlucky, our generation has witnessed many good and bad historic stamps of time, thereby creating many chronological impressions in our mind. Well, what I meant to say out here is we have become a bigger museum as individuals, and this museum has time special and history critical artifacts, I guess. So, storing these important timestamps in mind isn't that easy. And we do have very, very less time for our mind. So the mind has become pretty cluttered information warehouse. My head is sometimes very heavy. I do not know why. Is it because of the load of information or the weight of information or the arrangement of information? Probably mind is becoming a bigger agendas. Um, I'm here sharing my own story, to be very honest. I spent these Corona impacted days more as a witnesser or witness than as a direct experiencer. When Corona was observed in China, I took it like it's okay. I mean, something wrong is growing, but it started growing as epidemic. I was still listening to those who said it would be or it would become pandemic, and those who said it was a political hoax. When few cases started being observed in Nepal, I was alarmed. Like many people, I was alarmed. When the cases started growing globally, not only I saw the dark light, but also felt a very painful heat inside me. After lockdown was announced in Nepal, few days went in fearful curiosity, like the climax of a horror movie. It wasn't to be there, but want to see what happens next kind of thought was hovering around my mind. And then after a few days, I entered the phase of a different kind of pleasure. Even in the context of global pain, here was I was feeling a kind of inappropriate pleasure of being with family, getting to spend the time we never did, sleeping, being lazy, enjoying the void. Then slowly it started, getting boring, or it started growing boring. Now, then I entered a phase wherein I wanted to go inside myself because amidst the lazy days and normal pleasures, I felt like, my time was being wasted. A kind of identity crisis hit me like a busy person in a jail with full moon. I mean, a lot of people might reckon to my feeling at the moment. I was actually going with the flow, and as I said before, more witnessing than experiencing. So my own story or own case study was getting complex at that time. For me, Facebook became boring, YouTube became boring, Instagram became boring, and to be honest, people at home started becoming, I mean, lovingly boring. So I decided to go inside myself. And when I entered inside myself, I saw, the huge mind, inventory, unorganized and overloaded in front of me. All the timestamps from my childhood to till this next session we were talking. I mean, were talking to me. I mean, all the flashbacks were in front of my eyes. So I thought to myself, or I questioned to myself, is it a mental disturbance? I asked to myself, or is it a mental clarity? So in between this, the blur and clear, I began to drive my mind. I've probably, conducted hundreds of sessions on beauty pageants, trainings, personality development sessions, communications, arts, and sciences. But reflecting on all these, today, I concluded that knowledge, our wisdom, our capabilities are not as concrete as we assume them to be. They're vast and they're complex. So then I, started with my friend Rachana through our organization's Shuvadin. We started our online classes, which were again a more of have to do sessions to save the personality I had developed. So more than being busy, it was to show to the people that I am busy. I'll be very honest here. These virtual sessions, new normal components, the sanitizers, masks, everything are very, very boring, but they are not unavoidable. So, to conclude this lockdown story of mine, I would like to table few points here. Number one, keeping yourself busy and keeping yourself free. Keeping ourselves or yourself busy and keeping ourselves free, both are as important as the other. Second one, empty mind is not devil's workshop. Normally we have this trend of saying that empty mind is devil's workshop, but I say empty mind is not devil's workshop. Empty mind is also empty mind is also nirvana at times. It's peace. Full mind is not a treasure. Full mind is also at times a junkyard. So let's look at the balance of the happiness. And number three, all boring is not avoidable. So do not feel burdened with boring things. Let's try to live with them and don't let them bug our mind as well. So now about, what can youths use this lockdown time to better their personality, their traits, and future. I have three crisp suggestions. These all suggestions we have noted down and taken down from our or individual life, our experience of trainings during this lockdown, from our participants of trainings. So I have 3 to 5 crisp suggestions for everybody here who's watching here, especially the youths. Number one, to have a better personality, you need to be a better person first. And this better is defined by you and your society in a concurrence. So define you better in this lockdown. Define what you want, define how you want to achieve them, and define what will you do after you achieve them. Let's define happiness for you. Personality is a byproduct. Let's not only focus on personality, let's focus on a person. No personality, look, I am a personality development coach, and I am telling you, no personality classes can make your personality better. Only you can, not the classes. So start thinking about you as a person and be clear about what the hell you are. Be clear on that. Let the consultants, trainers, or even mentors not have a say on that. You are a true person. You are a unique definition. Go out, define yourself, and in this lockdown, define you as a better person and start working on them alone. Yes, alone, because you're not a parasite. You can do it alone. And lockdown is a forced peace. Within the safety protocols, let's celebrate peace. My second point is, let's arrange our mind, let's arrange your mind. There's no better capability than mind. Mind is very powerful, yet neglected thing. Most of us, we've neglected our mind. That's why we've started talking about mental health. We've never reciprocated, we've never loved, we've never cared our mind. Mind actually is a Kohinoor diamond. The most special diamond in this whole universe is a Kohinoor diamond. And I'd love to reckon and define mine as a Kohinoor diamond. We all carry that diamond with us. And I don't know how many of you know this word called money. Money is a very special uh, a thing, or an agent, or something similar to diamond. We all have that money, and that's in our mind. So in this lockdown, let's service our mind, arrange the information, break the old chronologies, trash the unnecessary memories, safe keep the important ones. Let's tag, let's attach, let's value, let's dig the ignored, hide the overvalued. Work on your mind like a dirty house. I here would like to give you one example. Like a dirty house, vacuum clean your mind, paint your mind, arrange your mind, build your mental shelves, apply the right interiors to your mind, build your own rules to your memories. There is no bigger asset than memories, and no bigger capacity or capability than a mind. Now, don't take a paper and a pen and take notes on how to clean a mind. Don't write it down, don't write the process. You create your own process. You don't need a pen and a paper. You have a lot of digital capabilities and capacities in your mind. Just use them. Go overhaul your mind and come stronger from within, because that's something me, along with my friends, our organizations, people attached to us, have been doing through this lockdown period, and it actually worked. It actually worked for us. And number third, agenda. What is your agenda? How does it matter to others? How will it cultivate millions of smiles? Maybe you're capable of it, but you're working on other 100 capabilities where the stereotypical word is moving. We might not have cultivated our agenda. So let's look at our agenda. If you ask yourself, you will find your agenda, and then you are an agenda, and you already are filled with adequate qualities, skills, and qualifications to meet that agenda. Where we go wrong is we go wrong in identifying our agenda. So I'm repeating the word agenda quite a few times because it's very important. And agendaless persons, uh, capacity development is like styling a hair of a dead person. That's an unnecessary exercise. So please go find your agenda. I'm sorry, I'm not suggesting you to learn Zoom, build skills in horticulture, or learn a new language, learn personality development, discuss science, go to a lab and do experiment, develop new dish, write new books, compose a new poem, music, uh, learn singing, or sharpen your skills. There are a lot of things that we can do. But before doing all these things, let's sharpen ourselves, and you will be sharpening everything that composes you. And you are a beautiful bulk of marble. If you think of only washing this marble, you'll only become a stone. If you only thinking and putting up new ideas to wash a marble that you have with you, you will only become a stone. If you only if you only move it from one place to another, you will be a new stone in another place. If you break it into two, you will be two stones. So if you design it in parts, you will be an incompletely designed stone. So if you carve it as a whole, you'll become a masterpiece. So think of you as a whole. Don't think of you as a part. Develop yourself as a whole. Don't develop yourself as a part. You deserve a complete package of development. So let's start a whole and work in pieces. You have time to work on your capabilities, but don't work on capabilities in isolation and without knowing yourself. Um, it doesn't matter the number of classes you attend, it doesn't matter the number of consultants you visit, or it doesn't matter the number of friends you have until and unless you know yourself. So like how if you do physical fitness exercise, you will start feeling pain in the other parts. You could again relate to my story. I started, I'm a very lazy person when it comes to my physical fitness. I don't love doing a lot of physical fitness. So this was back in 2006 or 7. I had to go to gym for my bikini body because I was selected for Miss World 2005. So I had to have the perfect body for the swimsuit section. So I hired one of the very confident and competent physical fitness trainer for myself. But few initial days were like very difficult because I started feeling pain in my other body parts. And what I want to tell you here is, if you develop your capabilities partly, and if there is no sync with the whole person, it will make you a defected piece. So let's be complete. See yourself, or see yourself as integrated. See yourself from 360 degrees. Your capabilities are in sync with your weaknesses and your unidentified capabilities, but be sure you do not disturb the rhythm of this beautiful ecosystem. Keep growing, keep smiling, keep identifying yourself a better person, keep servicing your mind, find your agenda, smile, cultivate smile, be authentic, go out, run, jump, fall, then stand up. Life is really beautiful. Develop capabilities to identify your unique strength and celebrate life in your own way. So after this webinar today gets completed, go out and do at least 2 to 3 things what makes you happy. It could be talking to your mother, or it could be making a wonderful dish for your parent. It could be planting a small plant on your terrace farming or your garden. Do whatever makes you happy, but let's not disturb the rhythm of this beautiful ecosystem. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for listening to me. I'm equally very, very grateful towards the organization for inviting me as one of the speakers. I don't know if my story helped you in knowing yourself as a better person or not, but I had a wonderful time sharing my story to you. Lockdown is the best time for everything, for doing the ones that we've left, to do more, to do those things we never did before. So all the best to everybody. Thank you very much. I would like to rest my speech, my sayings or my thoughts, my verdicts here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sugarika madam, for your wonderful words. Like I was thinking to hear more from you, because it was very motivating for me as well. It was really good to hear from you. Had we arranged this conference 3 months ago, we think that it would have been really impactful as well. From starting to now, had we gone series wise talk, listening from you would have motivated a lots of youth. But nevertheless, we are not late. We'll be hearing from you at your convenient time. Thank you for being with us. While I say you goodbye, I'd like to request you that since you are a student of environment science as well, so there is a question: that is nature really healing in this lockdown, or is you say during the pandemic, is nature really healing? So a few words on that.
um, it looks like it's healing because I'm from Nepal. I live in Kathmandu. My home is at Bhaktapur. Bhaktapur is such a place which is very, very close to nature, and Bhaktapur is also known as farmers place, farmers heaven. Actually, my house is exactly in the middle of farms, where in the middle of fields, where we could see people coming to the field, having growing vegetables, growing a lot of other beautiful fruits and vegetables every day. But post lockdown, let me share you that I've started seeing those birds which I've never seen in a decade. I mean, my childhood was all about flowers, plants, animals, birds hovering outside my house. And during this lockdown period, after the pandemic, I've started seeing the clear sky, the birds, the animals. And I've also realized, how happy the nature has become, because there's constant rainfall going on in Nepal. And as an individual, as a youth, or as an individual person, a lot of people had started their little farming in the corner or in the balcony on the terrace, which means we've started loving our nature. We've started being responsible and sustainable towards our nature, which absolutely is such a wonderful thing to see. And I hope this habit of ours will continue in days to come, so that nature and us can live in harmony. And as a student of environmental science, what I can say and tell everybody is like, it takes time for everything, be it nature or be it our own thought, our own verdict, or anything. It takes time. So if we um, build, or if we transform ourselves into that ecosystem very, very naturally, the environment, the nature will smile back. And yes, I can see nature smiling absolutely from where I belong, and from where my house is, or from where at this moment also I'm absolutely near to my balcony, and I can see the sky is smiling. I can see the mountain range from Bhaktapur, the Nepalese mountain. And yes, it's absolutely smiling. Thank you very much for asking me that question. I hope Bangladesh is smiling as well, India is smiling as well, South Asia is smiling as well. I hope the whole universe smiles. And pandemic has definitely taught us to be very, very patient, very, very caring towards and loving towards our nature as well. Thank you.
Thank you, madam, for your valuable time. It was really nice to hear such a lovable words from you, such a motivating things from you. We are really obliged that you manage time from your busy schedule to enlighten the youth, or you say the motivate the youth from all over the South Asia in this pandemic situation, who are really getting psychological problems, that what to do, what not to do. Is really a difficult situation for one who's staying at home, had not much things to do. Hope your words could change the life of youth watching this program. Thank you, madam, for being with us. Thank you. We are obliged that you manage the time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Namaste, everybody. Thank you.
Namaste, madam. So now we have Assistant Professor Nazir Khan Khokon from Dhaka University. He is the professor of leadership, and he is. He has been teaching the students of Dhaka University for long back. So now it's up to you, sir. After this, I want to enlighten them. A very good speaker, Dr. Udit Raj, is also joining us after a few minutes as well. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please, can you continue? I think some technical problem is there. We we are hearing you,
Hello
sir.
everyone,
Yes.
I'm Assistant Professor and Assistant Proctor Nazir Hussain Khan of University of Dhaka, Bangladesh. Today I am at this conference with this respected speaker, Her Excellency Miss Mashfee Binte Shams, Ambassador of Bangladesh to Nepal, Miss Sugarika Kesi, social activist and Miss Nepal 2005, Dr. Asifur Rahman, MBBS, BCS Health, Surgical College Hospital, Dhaka, Mr. Ganesh Shah, ex-Minister of Environment, Science and Technology, Nepal, Mr. Udit Raj, ex-Indian Member of Parliament, Lok Sabha. So I am glad to be here. Thanks to Mr. Abhinav Chaudhary, founder of C Nepal, and Arifin Hai Shourab, founder, president of Luminar, Bangladesh, to arrange this international conference and inviting me here. We are all impacted by COVID 19, the coronavirus, one way or another, no matter where we are in the world and where in the age we sit. However, some of us are at higher risk. For instance, older people and people with severe health conditions. Some of us are more impacted than others due to individual community circumstances. The one thing that surely must cut across all this level is being overwhelmed with the constant influx of information and misinformation, both one and all you see here. Read one thing, and before you have a second to grasp it, you are flooded by a completely different set of information. I bet we are also experiencing multiple stages of panic, fear, uncertainty, and disbelief, or even defiance. How could this happen? It is happening to us, all of us, and all of us together. But mostly it's compounded the already uncertain future that young people face today. COVID 19, now a pandemic by the World Organization, a new disease for which people don't have immunity to, is spreading around the world beyond expectation. However, this crisis should not be a call to panic, regardless of how tough that might be under the circumstance. What is the young people role in global challenge? Self-organize, self-mobilize, come together. No burst held, just like you have in the biggest crisis of all, climate change, come together in global solidarity. As to the 5 pointers on what to do young persons in times of the COVID-19, the most important and urgent steps is to be rational. Follow global and routine World Health Organization WHO guidelines. Properly wash your hands more often. Avoid crowded space. Avoid hand shaking. Wearing masks. Number two, educate your families, friends, and community. Spread community awareness online and offline. Number three, volunteer. Find a place to volunteer in your community. If there are older people, immuno people, Help put vulnerable people in your community, grocery and medicine. Number four, donate. Find a reliable charity to donate. Number five, we need young people leadership now more than ever. Most trouble in doing all of this. Stay healthy and stay safe. Listen to health authorities. Stay alert and keep a calm, open mind. Now, when the pandemic first started, Bangladesh did not take a huge hit, but now we are facing a lot of corona cases. It is now almost 4 months since the people of this country began to put up with restriction on their freedom of a kind that we have never seen before in peace or war. However, youths have put up with all the hardships, build awareness of social distancing, because youth understands that as things stand, as the experience of every other community has shown, it's the only way to defeat the coronavirus, the most vicious threat this country has faced in my lifetime. And it is thanks to youth efforts and sacrifice in stopping the spread of this disease, but we need more support from the youths. And thanks to our healthcare workers who saved many thousands of lives, they are still trying to do their best. Still, we must stay alert. We must control the virus and save lives. And, and though Bangladesh will be changed by this experience, believe we can be stronger and better than ever before. More resilient, more innovative, more economically dynamic, but also more generous and more sharing. But for now, we must stay alert, control the virus, and save lives. Thank you very much.
Assistant professor at Dhaka University. It was good hearing from you, sir. Your experience, teacher, lecturer at Dhaka University. Thank you, Assistant Professor Nazir Khan Kokon. The friends who are watching a bit late to this conference, let me again wrap a bit about today's conference. We see Nepal and Luminar Bangladesh is conducting this first wave conference on leadership, development of youth, and mental health during this pandemic of COVID-19. We had six speakers today. Six speakers, among them, first speaker were Masfee Binte. She is ambassador at People's Republic of Bangladesh. She spoke on how youth should use this time of lockdown as opportunities. He also focused on how foreign policies, foreign relations will have a scope after post-COVID era. Then we had a medical officer, Dr. Asifur Rahman. He is doctor at Midford Hospital. Dr. Asifur Rahman expressed how we can cope up with mental health, how medically mental health can be made good, how we can be how we can get rid of the psychological problems. Then he expressed how we can manage our feelings in between regarding COVID and our daily things. Then we had Sugarika Kesi. Sugarika Kesi is Miss Nepal 2005, and she is also managing director at Subadin Media Research and Training Center. She is a professional speaker. She is a trainer at capacity building and professional building trainer. She is engaged with different social works as well. She talked on how we can engage ourselves, how we can do constructive things in this era. We are waiting for. Then we had Assistant Professor Nazir Khan Khokon. He focused on what dimensions of COVID-19, how COVID-19 is affecting our mental health, and how we can engage ourselves to get rid of this. Four speakers, and unfortunately, one of the speakers, ex-minister Ganesha, could not join to this program because he is busy in. He is also leader of Communist Party of Nepal. Communist Party of Nepal is a ruling party. He is busy in meeting, so we could not get a chance to hear from him due to his emergency busy schedule, but he has promised that he will be joining the next conference as a keynote speaker next time. We are waiting for Udit Rajji. Udit Rajji is ex member of parliament of Lok Sabha in Indian Parliament. He is a wonderful speaker and a motivator as well. So he is joining in no time. Till Udit Rajji will join us. Let me introduce him shortly to you. Dear friends, we are in the first web conference of um, leadership, development of youth, and mental health during the pandemic of COVID-19. Um, Dr. Udit Raj is an ex-Indian member of Parliament, Lok Sabha. Dr. Udit Rajji, he was elected by huge number of votes from Northwest Delhi constituency. Dr. Raj is also national chairman of All India Confederation of Scheduled Caste, Scheduled Tribes Organization. He is the influential leader from the Congress Party of India. He is national spokesperson of Congress Party of India, the main opposition party of India. He is also nationally known as a social activist for marginal communities like social scheduled caste, scheduled tribes. From his college day, he has been busy involved in socio-political activities. He started preparing for civil services exam. Thereafter, he cleared the same in 1988, and when he was selected for the elite Indian Revenue Service, beside the MLA and LLB degrees. Dear friends, Dr. Udit Raj is already with us. Welcome, Dr. Udit Raj. He is ex-member of Parliament of Lok Sabha in India. He is national spokesperson of Congress Party of India. Let me again introduce you. Dr. Udit Raj is an Indian member of was an Indian member of Parliament in the Lok Sabha, representing the Northwest Delhi constituency. Dr. Raj is also the national chairman of the All India Confederation of Social Caste to Social Tribes Organization. He is an influential leader from the Congress Party of India, as well as nationally. He is known for social activists for marginalized community like scheduled caste, scheduled tribes. From his college day, he has been actively involved in socio-political activities. Due to financial constraint, he was forced to divert his attention from social activities. He started preparing for civil service examination thereafter and cleared the same in 1988. When he was selected for the elite Indian Revenue Service, he was a long time as a IRS officer. Beside the MLA, MA, and LLB degree, he has been awarded a doctorate degree by international university as well. He was there for a while, but I don't know whether some a technical error came. He will be joining soon. He will be joining soon. He will be joining soon. We are very eager to hear from him about how youth leadership and development will go in this pandemic. He, beside that, being political figure. He is also a wonderful motivator, a very good speaker, a philanthropist. He has engaged himself in developing the youth role and youth activities. Dr. Raz has been also working for betterment of youth and other areas as well. So we are waiting for Dr. Udit Raj to join in the conference. He was here, but due to technical problem, it got get disconnected. So I'm very hopeful that he will be joining in the program very soon. Again, till then, let me remind you about that mental health on from my perspective as well. From the beginning I could not introduce myself, but since the very of the many of the delegates or many of the participants have joined late, let me introduce myself. I am Abhinav Kumar Chaudhary. I am the founder of C Nepal, as well as I am engaged with different youth related international events. I am myself engaged as a motivational speaker, a social worker as well. I'm an entrepreneur as well. So many of you must have known me before also, but for the newcomers, I am a youth motivator. I organizes youth activities and youth conferences to better the youth capacity, to build youth leadership and youth entrepreneurship as well. So let me connect with you that we have this mental health is not only it comes in the COVID era. Actually, the SDG third of sustainable development goal has said that good health and well-being is one of the sustainable development goal of UN. We have made great programs. We have turned the tide on HIV and malaria. Deaths have halved. So we are very optimistic that COVID-19 will also go very sooner. This disease will be also away. So we have turned the tide on HIV, malaria, and then good health is essential to sustainable development. And the 2030 agenda reflects the complexity and interdependence of the two. It takes into account widening economic and social inequalities, rapid urbanization, threats to the climate and the environment, the continuing burden of HIV and other infectious disease are emerging challenges such as non-communicable disease. But today, the most challenge of in the earth is COVID-19. So I've got again a message that sir is joining. Sir is sooner joining with us. We are very excited to hear from him. He's wonderful motivator. He is a wonderful activist as well, social activist. Welcome you, sir, to our conference. We are in the conference, first web conference of leadership development of youth and mental health. You know, in this in this COVID era, when youths are in the social isolation, when they are jobless and have financial losses and heavy housing insecurity and quality, their work frontline workers are also in the problems, and as well as there is less coping mechanism for them. They have reduced access to mental health health services. So we are very much obliged that you manage time despite your busy schedule. Let me thank you on behalf of organizer C Nepal and Luminar Bangladesh. We Nepalese and Bangladeshi organization are jointly organizing this webinar on youth leadership and development and mental health, sir. So now up to you, sir. We are very excited to hear from you. Thank you, sir. Welcome to the program.
Thank you so much. I'm sorry that net was not all right, and of course earlier wanted to have attendance on bigger screen, and that was PC, but network is not working properly. Then switch over to mobile network. Now I'm on mobile. So subject is very relevant, during COVID-19, a lot of people are depressed and they are feeling loneliness, isolated, and very appropriate subject you have selected is that mental health. In Asian countries, people are shy of sharing about the mental health, and people connect it to the mind, that something is wrong with the mind, but it is not. It is like any other disease like uh, BP and fever, diabetic, etc. So it should be treated as a normal disease. Naturally, having lagged for so many days, not interacting with the others, and life uh, has come to a standstill, it will have repercussion on the mind of the people, in the life of the people. So, first thing I would like to say is that you must share it, what you feel it to your friends, family members. Don't hide it. That is the axiom. That is a first thumb rule that in case of depression or feeling low or loneliness or anxiety, never hide it. And if it is increasing more, then you consult to the doctor and rise above that. It is something related with the madness or mind or neurology. It's not like that. It's a chemical which, when it gets reduced or hormones are not properly secreted, then of course one feels low. So that's why that is what has to be learned by all of us in the pandemic time. And secondly, that never feel shy to consult doctors. One must go to the doctor. As I said earlier, that in Asian countries, be it Bangladesh, India, Nepal, and Pakistan, uh, mindset is more or less the same. So people think that it is a stigma, but it's not a stigma. It's like any disease. And secondly, yoga also helps breathing exercises. And now most of us are aware that how to do breathing exercise. That also helps, and that uh, refreshes the whole body and sends oxygen to whole part of the body. And of course, corona is also uh, the cause to fatal cause because oxygen level goes down. So by practicing yoga, it will increase the circulation of oxygen in the body. That will save from COVID also. This is what I have to say. Any question? I'm ready to answer.
Yes, yes, sir. The most of the questions which came, actually, I think should be answered by you. Is that in this situation when youths were in the dream to compete with high thinkings, like they were wanting their economy to boost, they were thinking of the good jobs, but you see the COVID-19 has almost cracked their dreams. So, what do you suggest today's youth that in this situation when they are losing their jobs, they have financial losses, and they are not even in the situation to dream good for in post COVID era, because WHO has said maybe we have to live through COVID-19. So what do you suggest today's youth for their economic
I
betterment?
I suggest that opportunities are ahead, and for the time they should manage their happiness and their mental health, not to worry about future. And what happened uh, is that now the world is rethinking and thinking about happiness. That is a priority. Satisfaction, happiness is the priority, and it should be priority for the youth also. If the life is there, then of course, uh, goal can be achieved future also, next year and that next year. And there are so many things. Supposing a particular targeted goal is not going to achieve, they should not worry. There are varieties of opportunity. And if they are losing something, then it is a thumb rule or axiom that if you lose something, in lieu of that, you are going to gain something. What happened that they can strengthen their mind, they can strengthen their thinking, and so far, of course, in Asian countries, we are hardly taught by our generations, by parents and society, that happiness is more important than achieving the goal or earning the wealth or rising to high position or acquiring the degree. All these are there for the happiness of the human beings, good behavior of human beings, good lovely livelihood of the human beings. That should be the priority. And I'm very much against that anyone who tops a school or colleges, etc., they are giving uh, 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 prominence. That should also be stopped. Nobody is unsuccess and nobody is a success. That should not be much of difference. So ultimately, life is to be enjoyed, life is to be realized. Essence of life is to live happily. That should be the goal, not only pursuing the marriage or any particular dream. If that dream is not going to achieve, then everything is finished. They should not think. This is what uh, I have to tell them.
Thank you so much for joining today. We were very excited to hear from you. Despite your we know you are a busy person. You despite your busy schedule, you manage time with us. It was really motivating to hear from a personality like you. We youths of India, Nepal, Bangladesh are hearing we heard your words, which were really motivating. Thank you for being with us, sir. Thank you for your time. Thank you, sir. So,
Thank you.
thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. And now I would like to request Saurav, hey, Arafin from Bangladesh to present a vote of thanks to all the speakers today.
Hello everyone, I am Arifin Hai Shourab, student of MA Masters of Arts in World Religions and Culture at University of Dhaka. I am also the president of Luminar Bangladesh, who are arranging this conference with partnership with C Nepal. I first of all I would like to thank all the guests you already know who were with us today, and also I am like to personally thanks Dr. Udit Raj, former MP from India. Personally thanks to that he joined us. It is a great honor to us that he is our guest. Thank you very much,
Thank you
sir.
so much.
Sir, welcome, sir. Okay, now I want to give a speech from my own, few words only actually. So I want to say, since the beginning of the crisis, novel coronavirus, our government, Bangladeshi government, has been focused on keeping Bangladeshi people safe and making sure people are supported during this challenging time. And as we move into the summer, this work continues. While we are trying to progress over first few months, but the virus still remains a very serious threat to our health. And with the parts of the economy shut down for many months, a lot of people need help getting back on their feet. They're also mentally depressed. They are also mentally depressed. We need to think about how to help them, both financially but also mentally, to cope up with the current situations. In this case, I think that youth can do a bigger role. I cordially invite youths of our country, Bangladesh, as well as other countries of SAARC nations and the whole world should come forward and do some voluntary work. I have written some, such as raising awareness of local health guidelines in online platforms, which is actually very easy to share, raising the proper awareness, then raising awareness within their own family, which is the first need actually, then also in their community, with taking proper, but obviously taking proper safety measures. Then I want to say, as all the school and colleges and universities are closed in Bangladesh, teachers should make contact with their students to support them as much as they can. However, the students should also make virtual contacts with their classmates over calls or messages to support them mentally at these desperate times. We know that conditions of all students are now same. Some are actually rich from their family, and some are actually poor. So those who are rich students who are able should help the needy friends. In this case, this is a different case now. We never faced this kind of case in our life, actually, our life of youths. Okay, the third one, if youth come forward to support their community in this time of pandemic, they will learn the act of compassion. This will make them a perfect leader of future. On four, local communities should also support and help the youths to take these necessary steps for the betterment of nations. As many families are now in great need, people from all sectors of the society should come forward. We should not only rely on government help when needed, we should all come together and help our countries. However, nowadays youth leaders have much respect and popularity in the society, so they can actually make a huge impact to fight COVID-19. We exactly don't know how long we will face this pandemic, but we should stay together and fight together in this challenging time. From my side, I am trying to do my best to help my community. Days pass by, and here comes new challenges. Our government continues to follow the situation closely and listen to its citizens. But people want programs that respond to their needs and realities. We all know a lot of people are wondering what to expect for the coming months. After this very challenging times, things should continue to move in the right direction. We still have some hot spots labeled as red zones, yellow zones in our country. So we should take serious measures to those zones, especially to stop the virus. Use of those zones can do a lot. Youth leaders should take this matter seriously. If they can convince the mass people to follow the public health instructions and to make sacrifice by following it, then we could get this virus under control. I want to stress though that while we are on the right track, the fight against COVID-19 is not enough. We need to work more to fight against the virus. As shopping malls and some other businesses is to reopen, we must continue to follow local public health guidelines to keep each other safe. In this fact, I want to add that as a nation, we should also look after each other. We all know Bangladesh, India, Nepal, and other SAARC countries are helping each other. But we hope this partnership in this time should grow stronger. Thank you all. Thank you very much for joining this live. Uh,
We are
Now,
at the we are now at the end of the end of this web conference. I would like to thank all of you, the participant, all the speakers who helped to make this program successful. It was very good learning from all the speakers. We had very excellent speaker, Her Excellency Mrs. Masfee Binte Sam. She's ambassador of Bangladesh to Nepal. Then we had Dr. Udit Raj, who is a very prominent speaker, and he's also ex-Indian member of Parliament, Lok Sabha. He is also a social activist. And then I would like to thank Mrs. Sugarika Kesi, social activist, and she's Miss Nepal 2005. Then Assistant Professor Nazir Hussain Khan, he is assistant proctor, University of Dhaka. Then we have Dr. Asifur Rahman. He is MBBS, BCS Health. He's an indoor medical officer at Midford hospital. Then I would like to thank Mr. Arifin Hai Saurabh, who worked hard to make this web conference very successful. And on behalf of organizers, C Nepal and Luminar Bangladesh, I would like to thank all the participants for being patient for last 2 hours. It's nearly 2 hours we conducted our program. It was good learning. Hope we'll continue this kind of program in future as well. Thank you everyone. Thank for your support. Hope to meet you in next web conference soon. We'll be announcing our next web conference. Thank you everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Goodbye for today. Hope to see you soon in our next conference. Bye.